లోకి వెళ్ళి ఒక బ్యాగ్ నుంచి ఒక పెన్ తీసి ఏ రూమ్లో ఈ రూమ్ నుండి ఈ పక్క రెండో రూమ్ తలుపు మాకు చేయాలి లేడీస్ రూమ్ యాక్చువల్లీ.
Senior government dignitaries, senior industry personnel, all the members representing various non-governmental organizations, brothers and sisters of India. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Hyderabad chapter of the One Nation Conclave. One Nation is part of one world, the parent body that is a group of professionals, thinkers, and decision makers, including good Samaritans, just like all of you here. One world travels around the world, and one nation around India, to discuss the problems of the society and see how we all can together not just find solutions, but also examine how we can do our bit, both individually and collectively as one nation. So if you all were to ask me about the objectives of One Nation, I'd say the objectives are moving towards unity and equality in society through a constructive dialogue that form the twin purposes. But pray, how do we do this? To achieve equality, I think we must as a society make sure the holy essential trinity of education, health, and nutrition are made accessible to all. And unity will come by perhaps not by mere tolerance, but through positive acceptance of all people, which is the fundamental doctrine of our great country. So friends, what should you expect in the next 2 hours that you're here? After we're through with the formalities, we'll have a very engaging open house discussion led by Ms. Karuna Gopal and Professor A. Anantharaman. The theme for this discussion is Shakti. It is the omnipresent power, I'm sure you all agree, which is latent within every woman here and around the globe. And some of us here will see how to meet these objectives that I just stated for women, with women, and hopefully by women too. After the discussion, we'll have a short felicitation program where we would like to honor the Shaktis of both the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, who have unassumingly done commendable work in the areas of education, health, safety, welfare, and nutrition. This would be followed by the unveiling of a new educational campus for girls coming up right in our backyard at the Kondapaka village in the erstwhile Medak and now Siddipet district. After this, we'll wear pride and honor on our sleeves and sing the national anthem aloud as one people, one nation, and one world. We shall now commence this evening's program by ceremonially lighting the lamp while the girl students of an educational institution, Sai Seva Sangh, chant the Vedas. May I now call upon Ms. Tripurana Venkatratnam, Ms. Karuna Gopal, Dr. Manjula Anagani, Ms. Geeta Panda, and also Ms. Aditi Kishore to please come forward for the lamp lighting ceremony. What better way to celebrate India's unity and diversity than by remembering the national song? The girls from the Sai Seva Sangh institution who just chanted the Vedas, chanted the Ganesh Atavashisham for your information. The same girls from the institution will also perform for the national song. May now request all the dance girls to please come up on stage.
वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्
सबसे महान है ये पुण्य भूमि माँ
समान है ये धरती हमारी सबसे महान है ये पुण्य भूमि माँ के समान है हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई हम सब मिलकर भाई भाई दिल से दिल मिलाकर भाई सुर से सुर मिलाकर भाई साथ साथ हम सात सुरों से कर ले भारत माँ की आराधना स्वरों से अर्चना सारे पामरे सरे सस सरे सस समरे रे पमरे सा सस सरे सस समरे रे पमरे सा साथ साथ हम सात सुरों से कर ले भारत माँ की आराधना स्वरों से अर्चना सस सनी रे पम पम मम रे मरे सरे 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 मरे सरे म पनि पम पनि सरे सारे प सरे मरे सरे म पनि पम पनि सरे सारे सा जननी जन्मभूमि भारत की कर्म भूमि शांति की पुण्य भूमि सादर प्रणाम जननी वंदे मातरम 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 वंदे मातरम
Thank you very much, girls. I now take great pleasure in introducing you to the First Lady, yes, pun intended, of this evening's program, Ms. Karuna Gopal. I'm sure all of you from Hyderabad know her, but for our guests coming from other cities and other countries, let me introduce you to Ms. Karuna Gopal as an internationally acclaimed thought leader, columnist, keynote speaker and advisor to many state governments and the Center on Smart Cities. She's also the founder president of the Foundation for Futuristic Cities, a think tank that has influenced urban transformation in India for over a decade. She is our chief host for One Nation Hyderabad, just as Mr. S.M. Krishna, former External Affairs Minister, and Ms. Malika Srinivasan, chairperson and CEO of TAFE, were the hosts for the Bangalore and Chennai chapters of One Nation. I now call upon Ms. Gopal to come and make her welcome remarks.
Good evening. Good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for being here. On behalf of One Nation, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We've congregated here today to celebrate the 71st Independence Day Eve here. And we also thought it's an appropriate time to ideate about where India can go. So this roundtable is about transforming India, but to transform India, we thought it's very important to transform women. Transform women to transform the nation. Now that is the theme of our discussion today. Just to give a bit of a context. Back in the year 2015, December, heads of 200 nations, prime ministers, presidents of 200 countries have congregated in Paris for the COP21 conference, popularly known as UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention for Climate Change. The 200 leaders congregated there primarily to articulate a vision for a transformed world. They articulated sustainability development goals, which are 17 in number. But some of you would certainly know that sustainability development goals are actually an offshoot of Millennium Development Goals. Now, the unfortunate thing, the sad thing was, none of the countries could actually achieve the Millennium Development Goals. And on the sidelines of the conference, there was a huge discussion on why Millennium Development Goals have not been achieved. Primarily because we have not been able to put focus on one important goal. And that important goal is gender equality. Now, having said that, let me just quickly tell you about the Millennium Development Goals. The first goal is poverty alleviation. The second goal is elementary education. The third one is maternal health. The fourth one is infant mortality. Fifth one is HIV communicable AIDS, HIV and communicable diseases. The sixth goal is to achieve gender equality. The seventh goal is to protect environment from environmental degradation. And the eighth goal was to bring global partnerships. Most of the countries have not achieved the Millennium Development Goals, as I said earlier, because they have not focused on just one important goal, gender equality. Now let me explain just a bit about it. If gender equality was the focus, a woman would be educated, empowered, she would become the earning member of the family, and she would be healthy. Just imagine the first goal, poverty alleviation, would be the easiest to achieve if a woman is educated, aware. Would she allow poverty to enter the portals of her home? I doubt it very much. Some of you would have really read reports today. They say that if women earn money, they invest back into their homes. So the homes will have better nutrition, better education, better health indicators. So the first goal would easily have been achieved. The second goal, elementary education. An educated, aware woman would certainly ensure her children get elementary education. The third goal is about maternal health. An educated, empowered woman, would she not know how to protect herself during pregnancy? She would know what iron-fortified food to eat. She would know how to prevent her child from getting spina bifida. It's the easiest, an educated woman. Take the fourth goal, infant mortality. Infant mortality, my friends, happens because the children die because of dehydration, and diarrheal deaths are very common. An educated woman, an aware woman would know the oral rehydration therapy. Just put a little bit of water, take salt and sugar, and the child would be alive. An educated woman would know that. The next goal is HIV communicable diseases, eradication of that. Do you think an empowered, educated woman would succumb to HIV and communicable diseases at all? She will not. The seventh goal is about environmental degradation. An educated, aware woman would certainly think that climate change is not just bees, birds, and reptiles. It's about lack of rainfall. It's about food insecurity. She would know conservation. Take the last goal, global partnerships. An educated woman would know how to get into the global partnerships. Years ago, a study was done in African communities. Just 5% increase in education. They have created a global network of entrepreneurs. Such an easy thing. So just one goal, bring women up to speed with when, and then we could have achieved all the Millennium Development Goals. So that is the basis on which we are going to have the discussion today. Look at women as the greatest assets of the country. Now, India is a great nation, as you know. It has demonstrated enormous amount of resilience. We have had the greatest journeys of development over the years. As a nation, we have demonstrated not only resilience, extraordinary amount of strength and power. I'd like to conclude by just borrowing from what Max Muller said. Max Muller, an Indophile, the most popular Orientalist, he said, India is such a great nation where great dreams have to be dreamt, a great nation where great dreams have to be dreamt, and a great nation where great deeds have to be done. Thank you very much. I'm extremely honored that all of you are here. We're going to now quickly move on to the roundtable discussion, and we would really like to see ideas that can transform the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gopal, for outlining the objectives of this evening's conclave. Now, there's a typical professor and an ideal professor. Professor A. Anantharaman is a bit of both. What he typically does is teaching. He's a professor of strategy and general business management who has taught at the Lubin School of Business and the Harvard Business School in the USA, and at several other prestigious international schools of business in Europe and Asia. He's also on the boards of many Indian companies and multinational firms, and we're very happy to let you know that he's going to be the moderator for this evening's panel discussion. Now, since I've solemnly sworn by the Charter of the One Nation Conclave to not say a word more than required, I'd leave it to the Sultan of Speed and the Seeker of Swiftness to please go ahead and conduct the panel discussion. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. No reply? Well, I do not have to use the airwaves to mention the relevance of women's empowerment, so aptly christened by our host here as Shakti. Better men than me, from presidents to Nobel laureates to economists, have dwelt upon this as a tool of development, as an instrument for social justice, and as a key to building our future. But we need today to look at the what, the why, and the how of this. The what is staggering. The problem appears to be universal. Every day, 3 women are killed by their male partner in the United States of America. Every minute, 2 girls are raped in South Africa. More than 1,000 million girl babies have been killed, aborted, or neglected simply because they were girls. Nearer home in India, there is physical abuse of women every 22 minutes, a dowry killing every 90 minutes, and a female foeticide every 20 seconds. But some women, unfortunately too few, like our own host today, break that glass ceiling. But whenever they break the glass ceiling, the sky is the limit. You discover Helen Keller's, Eleanor Roosevelt's, Mary Curie's, Malaya Yousafzai's, and Karuna Gopal's. But for each of these Shaktis, there are hundreds who are merely eking out a mere existence. Let's look at some more statistics. Women perform 66% of the world's work, but earn 10% of the world's income. Of the world's total poverty, 73% are women. Women produce 50% of the world's food, but own only 1% of the farmland. Nearly 66% of those who do not attend schools are girls. Only 29% of women above the age of 15 are in workforce, compared to 81% of men. Only 26% of women who are above 25 today have received secondary education. Yet, there are women who have been queens, presidents, prime ministers, bankers, influencers, ideators, artists, and creators. But for every one of these people, there are hundreds of women who struggle to feed their children, who walk several hours a day just to access water, who cannot read or write as they never had an opportunity to go to school. How did that happen in a country like ours, which considers Devi as the supreme Brahman, as evidenced by the words in Devi Mahatmyam, by you the universe is born, by you the world is created, O Devi, by you it is protected. Where have we slipped up? Is it attitude? Is it culture? Or is it mere chauvinism? What can we do to make women freely live their life with a sense of self-worth and dignity? Have complete control of their life so that they are able to make their own choices. They have equal rights for social and economic justice. They are able to make economic and financial choices. They receive equal opportunity for education, obtain equal employment, and enjoy safe and comfortable working environment. A woman caring for her children, a woman striving to excel in private sector, a woman partnering with her neighbors to make their streets safer, a woman running an office to improve her country, they all have something to offer. And the more our societies can empower women, the more we receive back from them. How do we create that environment? How do we create that society? A society evolves from the simple to the complex, as it fulfills the function of integration and differentiation in several different organs of the society. Consequently, out of the same unit of society, different social systems and thinking come into existence. I think it was Jefferson who once said that we must all become partners of our own endeavors. True to this aphorism, it's our intention today, using these eminent men and women who are sitting on the table around here, to dialogue on this, so that thinkers like you, who are concerned about issues of societal consequence, can influence the thinking of others. During these discussions, for the next 1 hour or so, we will use the rhetoric of public dialogue as the principal medium of that interaction. We will mainly dialogue with the people sitting on the inner circle. At some point in time, we will also spread it out so that none of you outside are out of the ring of whatever we want to create today, awareness. We will use this as a principal medium of such an interaction. It was said that Aristotle was the one who first developed the basics of the system of rhetoric as a tool for practical debate and discussion. as it provided outstanding opportunities for people to interact ideas. The rhetoric of One Nation today will be on Shakti, re-empowering women. Why, how, and what? So, just imagine, since it was Aristotle who created this, particularly about the people sitting in the inner ring, just imagine that it is now 320 BC. You are sitting in Lyceum in ancient Greece, and you're all wearing long flowing robes here and discussing women's empowerment. Take you back to that situation. But again, there's a strange irony here. Aristotle probably was the greatest MCP known to mankind. He considered women subject to men. In fact, it was he who suggested that a woman's personal wealth continuously accumulates automatically to her husband. Had he been alive today, he would not be very welcome in the women's community, and particularly in a subject like this. But we are not following Aristotle today, we are only trying to follow Aristotle's method and his method of rhetoric. Therefore, I would like to start addressing this problem, starting with gentlemen from the government sector here, as to what do they feel action can be taken, what can we do about it, what steps can we take. I must confess, in the beginning I feel like a teacher in the first class who do not know the students. But you also have the equal privilege, you do not know me, so we are quits. What does the government feel? What can we do about it? What action has been taken? How can we prevent? How can we correct? Can we ask Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, please?
Sure. Good afternoon. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jayesh Ranjan. I work for the Telangana government. I look after the subjects of IT and industries. Let me also congratulate Karuna Gopal for putting this together and bringing on the same table some of the most brilliant minds that I know of who are here in Hyderabad. So getting straight to the issue that Professor Anantraman has raised, I would make 2 points which in some ways are complementary to what he has mentioned. One is that we need to do a micro-analysis of the situation. See, when we say that women are disempowered or the gender gap is very huge or opportunities are not coming their way, while it is true in a very general sense, but we also need to disaggregate this. There is a rural India, there is an urban India, there is a professional India, there is an India which is extremely connected with the global realities. So where are these kind of problems lying? So for example, he spoke about women participation in workforce. Now in the IT industry in Hyderabad, some of you would be aware that close to 4,10,000 people are employed. Almost 40% of them, close to 40% of them are women, which is by far the best in any industrial sector, in any economic sector in our country so far. The work participation of women in the IT sector. But at the same time, if you again look at how many IT companies are headed by women CEOs, you will find that that number is very, very low. So while 40% of the women join the workforce, but again there is some kind of a glass ceiling, there are barriers, there are other kind of work-life balance challenges, etc., because of which not many, in fact very, very few really make it to the top. Now if you look at rural India, we continue to mention that there are prejudices, there are kind of barriers, women are extremely dependent on the men folk, there is a patriarchal system of thinking, there is feudalism, but at the same time within our own country, from a state which shows the lowest sex ratio, which is Haryana, you get Sakshi Malik, you get the Dangal, not Dangal, the Pogat sisters who are winning medals in international meets and so on and so forth. So it's all a very complex kind of a system, and of course it's not the government alone which can bring about this change. eventually the society as a whole has to realize the worth, the value in women getting empowered. But one very fundamental belief which I have gathered after working in the government for the last 25 years or so, and having been associated with some of the most transformative grassroots program, is that economic empowerment is the key. In fact, I have worked in a very path-breaking program which was there in the combined state earlier, and now it is there in both the states. It is called the Velugu, in which the poorest of the poor women are mobilized, and a vision is created in them, and then their credibility is enhanced, so that automatically they start receiving large doses of funds, and the kind of change that has brought about, not just in their own families, but in the entire community, in the entire society, through these kind of interventions, has been unbelievable. I mean, women who would not have even imagined taking one step out of their houses today are becoming sarpanches, they are becoming community leaders, they are becoming opinion makers, and that too in some of the most remote and rural parts of these two states. So economic empowerment, in my opinion, is the key. But the second point which I am making is that we have to disaggregate this entire business of women empowerment and understand in each context what are the drivers, what are the bottlenecks, what are the opportunities. And the last point which I wish to make is that while government definitely has a very key responsibility in this area, unless the entire society, all the professions, all the civil society organizations, unless they join hands, we won't really be able to go much far.
Thank you, Mr. Ranjan. Since the government said it's a problem of the public, let me throw it back to the social sector here, as you call it. Let me start with the logic. 10,000 years ago, according to Genesis, the world population, when Eve ate that first apple, was 2, Adam and Eve, 1:1. 10,000 years later, the world population of men and women is 101 to 100. That being the case, why do we see far less women in public spaces than men? Any problem? Any logic? Can we ask somebody in the social sector to reply to me?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Is this better? Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, good. So, why are women not seen in public spaces much? I think that was Professor Anantharaman's question. We all know, as a poet, I would like to read something from my book called Women, Wit and Wisdom. And since the theme is Shakti, there is something about Shakti here. There are many things women want to do, but are they really allowed to do is the question. Even if they have a political opinion within the family, it's likely to be suppressed because the others don't agree with it, or they have to fall in line with the male political opinion within the family. Or opinion in the smallest of matters. I am talking not of the highly educated women, the empowered families. I talk of those families which are in the lower middle class, where they are struggling to make both ends meet. So where's the question of being seen in public spaces by such people? And that forms a very large majority of our country. The lower middle class, the middle class. I'm not talking of the upper middle class. We are well aware and we are pretty empowered, so to say, but we are really not empowered even in the upper middle class. To have an opinion, they need to take their husband's permission. Am I right? Not always, not always. Again, I'm talking not of women who are seen in public spaces. I'm talking of women who are not seen in public spaces and why they are not there. We are all already there in the public spaces, so it's easy for us to air an opinion. But how many amongst us here has come from that background to talk of why women are not seen in the public space here? Yeah,
If you say the problem is cultural,
yeah.
in the gender inequality list of UNDP, who evaluate them on the basis of 3 dimensions,
Okay.
health, empowerment and labor. India, while ahead of Pakistan, while ahead of Afghanistan, is far behind Sri Lanka and even Pakistan. We are far behind Pakistan and Sri Lanka in the gender inequality list of UNDP.
Yes.
If it's merely a matter of culture, why are we behind them?
It is not just a matter of culture alone. It's a mindset, which is not culture. It is also to do with education. It is also to do with empowerment, as we talk of. But the empowerment has to be at the lowest level.
These 3 countries, we have a similar culture, similar background, only thing is slightly different religion.
Yeah.
Why should it be so in India, much worse than even Pakistan? Yes, madam.
Because we call ourselves secularists, but we are pseudo-secularists. That's why.
Yes, madam.
I think what we have before I start, I'd like to introduce myself and commend what Jayesh has said. That's a fantastic platform. You know, he's positioned the whole argument very positively. I'm Ananda Shankar Jayant. I'm from the Railway Traffic Service. I'm also in the world of art. I dance. I'm a classical dancer. So coming from 2 very different spaces, one very, very male, which is with Indian Railways, which is completely male, macho and mustachioed. I come to the other world, which is completely feminine. So I straddle 2 very different worlds. So I think what I understand what is happening with society, and I specifically contain my argument with the urban, not with the rural, with the urban working class. And I would go to say that much of what Padmaja said is about being allowed. I think many of us don't wait to be allowed. That's the difference between the urban and the rural. The second thing is, I think women and familial expectations, social expectations of what is expected of a woman, what is expected to be her role, is something that is still very nebulous. And today, since we're talking Shakti, I will just quickly paraphrase what women means to me. We just finished Varalakshmi Vratam 2 days ago. So to me, Lakshmi, she is Lakshmi. She's got vitality, life and health. That's what she gives to the family. And progeny. She's Saraswati. She embodies memory, intelligence, perception, and all that, jnana. And she's Durga with all her 18 arms. And when I mean 18 arms, I mean she is mother, sister, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, working at the office, grandmother, whatever. She has all these aspects. And I think the urban woman is able to do all this. She is already doing it. That's why many of us are here. The trick, I think, is for the family to understand that she is probably being pushed in so many directions, and she needs to be given that space and time to do her own thing. The guy comes back home and puts up his feet and asks for coffee. The woman goes into the kitchen to cook. So I think from there it begins, that complete extraordinary pressure on her to be both the mother, both the house, to handle so many areas. I think that, and the media. I'm looking at Patnaik because he's from the music from the world of films. What the media is giving us. Look at television, look at film, look at what rubbish is thrown at us as how women are treated on film, how women are looked at. It is regressive, it's retrograde, and I think that reinforces what is happening in the middle class, in the lower middle class, in the urban working class, in the rural. I think if these inputs, if we are starting to tweak it, then we are looking at social revolution, we are looking at women being equal, empowered, all that comes out from, it has to come from inside the house and outside.
Thank you, ma'am. I like that. Government points the hands at social, social points the hand at moving, and on, right? Now, the whole point here is, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan has basically said that government can enforce laws. We can institutionalize reward and punishment. But we cannot change behavior. What can we do? The other day in Bangalore, I observed a very strange sight. Early morning traffic, an ambulance was going by. People actually stopped and gave way to ambulance. I have never seen this in a Namma Bangalore before. Never happened. Right? But it happened. So, is it a matter of persuasion? Is it a matter of communication? Should we go to Narendra Modi and say, start a Mann Ki Baat on women's empowerment? Is that a problem? Yes, gentlemen, ladies.
Mr. Anantharaman, your mic has to be closer. We're losing you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can pose it to the social scientist sitting there. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, this is Manjulata Kalanidhi. I'm from the New Indian Express. I also happen to be the founder of a social initiative called the Rice Bucket Challenge. About this, I feel that there's a lot of social conditioning, or rather brainwashing, that went into women. Very early in life, we are taught that, a woman is the enemy of the other woman. Perhaps the men realize that when two women get together, it can be tsunami for them. So they made it very convenient to make it, that women shouldn't get, they shouldn't become allies. So a lot of thought has gone into that. A woman would typically see her mother-in-law as somebody who would sort of suppress her and all. But today we realize that that's not true. When women and women work together, it's a lot of strength, it's a lot of energy and synergy. So that kind of social conditioning where women look at each other as some kind of enemies and who compete each other, that has gone into our brains. That needs to be sort of washed out. But I think we're making good progress. We might take another decade or two to reach where we're talking about.
So I have a request. While we are analyzing, I think it's important to be solution oriented. So anything that points to a solution would highly be appreciated. We will take notes and
So essentially, letting women speak up, giving them various platforms like this. I've seen women being very shy even to speak on online platforms. They feel they put a comment, some man comes and says something, and they would get very scared. I'm like, if you have to speak up, you need to speak up. There'll be other voices which sort of, say against, but that's where you sort of start online. So start with online forums, speak your world, and then come to the offline world. Thank you.
Also, one more question I have where I want an answer, which is, we talk about women's empowerment as if it's a cliche. What are we talking about when we talk about women's empowerment? Are we talking about better schools, better health, better facilities, better jobs? Or are we talking about choices? Ability at choices, ability to be able to make choices, ability to decide what she wants to do, ability to carry it further. Can one of you carry that further, ma'am?
I just would like to make one point here. Today it has come in the papers, in the Hindu, the Kanya Shri Prakalpa scheme 2013 of the West Bengal government has received the UN Public Service Award. I don't know whether any of you read this in Hindu today. This was a scheme, it was a conditional cash transfer scheme with the aim of improving the status and well-being of the girl child in West Bengal by incentivizing schooling of all teenage girls and delaying their marriages until the age of 18, the legal age for marriage. And I believe 41.2 lakhs of beneficiaries as on 25th of June have been identified, and they received the benefits through some 15,826 institutions and through what were called Kanya Shri Sanghas.
Actually, these kind of These kind of
This is
schemes
a-
exist in different state governments and
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
Likewise, for the health, you know, there was a scheme called MCTS. There are many good schemes, but how far they are implemented is the most important aspect here. For example, the Nirbhaya Fund. Does anyone know what's happening with the Nirbhaya Fund? No one knows.
there are some people who know and who are pursuing.
They
So,
should do something.
Yeah.
Make it more public.
There
Yeah.
are some people. So we.
No, through Nirbhaya Fund, they are already starting these one-stop crisis centers in each and every district. You know, like services at one place for all the rape victims, medical services, counseling, everything. That's called one-stop crisis centers. And Nirbhaya Fund is being used to establish those centers in all the districts. It's on the way.
Since health was raised, let me go to the health people. Is there a rural-urban divide in this problem of women's empowerment?
May I say something?
Would we be right in saying there is greater empowerment in the urban area than in rural area? Is health could be one of the causes? Is that the reason? Is there anything you can add?
So, I'm Dr. Purnima Nagaraja. I belong to the grey area of the health sector, which is mental health. And I've been in mental health for 25 years, and the work I do is mostly about empowering women and adolescent girls who are victims of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and other forms of violence. I'm also a part of Bharosa, a one-stop crisis center in Hyderabad, spearheaded by the Telangana police. Having said that, I'd like to just present a few micro-analysis of statistics of mental health in the world. 41.9% of women suffer from mental health issues as compared to 29.3% of men. And 80% of the 50 million women who are victims of people who are victims of violence are women. The lifetime prevalence of violence against women is 16 to 50%. 1 in 5 is raped, 1 in 8 could be sexually abused before the age of 8, and 1 in 3 suffers intimate partner violence. Having said all these things, I think before we talk of empowerment, we should talk of validation. Validate a woman first for all the things that she does, not just her achievements, even day-to-day occurrences like, probably taking your children to school and successfully taking care of, people around you. I think validation is mostly missing, which is why mental health issues are also on the rise. 41.9% is not funny. If you're looking at depression being number 2 in terms of mental illness by 2020 as predicted by the WHO, and if 50% of them are women, it's a pretty terrible state of affairs. And we are talking of 50% of reported cases. It is said that anybody can go through depression at least 6 times in their lives, and women are the highest attempters of suicide in the world. So I think policy should be towards women-friendly laws, and not just laws like Nirbhaya or POXO or any of these laws. Laws that empower them to be financially successful, to be able to use the material resources around them, to encourage small industries in women, to deal with mental health issues, especially in the courts of law. If a woman has a mental health issue, divorce is granted almost immediately. Whereas if a man has mental health issues, all the doctor has to do is say it is curable or manageable, and the divorce is not granted. There are women I know who are running around courts for 30 years, waiting for a divorce from an extremely violent and mentally ill husband, or maybe a personality disorder.
Thank you, doctor. But I've still not got an answer to the question I raised. Is there a rural-urban divide here?
Can I just answer that? I'm Dr. Manjula Anagani. I'm a gynecologist, MD and chief gynecologist at Max Care Suhasha Hospitals, High Tech City. I think here there is 2 things. When we say this human rights, about anything we talk about Indian human rights, the same thing about if we take as a right to choose and right to make a decision, I want the total divide into the professionals in the medical fraternity plus Aam Aadmi, that is women. What is it, what's happening? Both the ways, in both places, there is a huge divide between urban and the rural areas. When we take right to choose and decide, I know of many medical doctors who as a student would be thinking of becoming a surgeon or anything. Once they are married, they would choose a subject which is paraclinical or something where they can spend time to the family and the thing. So definitely there's a huge discrepancy there itself, where not depending on what they can do, they would be choosing something where the support systems are there and where they can fit into the family system. It happens both in urban and the rural area. Second, how many doctors are willing to go to the urban area to do it, depending on the family system here? Third, what is the support system the government is giving to them when they go to the rural system? And the actual working class of the doctors who are there in the city who are working, are they making a difference to the public, or is there a license between the government who makes the decisions and the doctors who are working? So this comes in a different group of doctors, but when it comes to the Aam Aadmi, we all know it is the awareness, then the cure and the compassion or care, and then the prevention of diseases. This is what is health empowerment. So when we are talking of empowerment, government makes decisions, they are implemented, but who is implementing it? And awareness, who is giving the awareness? Is it directly the doctors are able to go and then do it? Very few people do it. Then what is the thing? Who is it? The media who is supporting us so that it can go? That is, media is one thing which goes to the every household thing. So I think we have to look at how the awareness can go. Then the cure comes in the form of hospitals there, both in rural and urban. Then comes the preventive aspects about it.
Thank you. I have not left industry. I'm going to come back to the industry in the end, because you guys will have to write out a check finally
The
to make all this
industry,
stuff.
if you see most of the industry representatives you see there,
Men.
yeah, the men have very beautiful daughters, and really they dote on them. So the reason they are here is because of them, if I'm not wrong.
Professor, my name is Dr. Karthik Godavarthi. Though I'm representing the industry, I'm also a PhD in anthropology, so let me try and answer the question that you have raised. Is there a rural-urban divide in women empowerment? Yes, it is. There is very much. The irony of today's meeting is it's Shakti, and we are talking about empowering the Shakti. Shakti itself actually stands for power. One of the reasons why the rural women are not as empowered as the urban women, I'm not trying to quote theories and theses here, the primary reason is India is a land, Indian culture and society is a land of paradoxes. On one hand, our literature says, Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devata. Where a woman is respected, that's where the gods and the goddesses not only dwell, but they dwell happily. At the same time...
Sir, small interference.
Yeah.
The same Manu said,
I'm coming to that.
Nastri Swatantra Marhati. Please.
That's why I started off by saying paradoxes. And the Manusmriti has... let me quote from the original text. Pita rakshati kaumare, bharta rakshati yavvane. Rakshanti sthavire putra, nastri swatantra marhasi. This is also from our literature. When a woman is, when a girl is a young girl, a young lady, kaumare, she is supposed to be protected by the father. And she comes into youth by the husband. And once she becomes old, she will be protected by the son. When you look at the rural India and some pockets of even urban India, the Indian traditional social institutions are still very, very active, and they really influence the mindsets of a majority of Indians. I normally don't like when we try to compare India with Pakistan or any other country only on the basis of religion. Religion is one of the very many components of culture. And when you look at the roles in any society, there are productive roles, there are reproductive roles and community roles. Productive roles have been traditionally monopolized by men because they have been always projecting the woman as biologically vulnerable, and that's the origin of the patrilineal society and the patriarchal society. The reproductive roles, men have no choice, they don't have a uterus, so they have given it to the woman. Community roles, I think the Parliament of India has less than 11% of women parliamentarians, and very few women come out and play roles in community. So yes, the rural-urban divide is very much there, and even in the urban areas there are rural mindsets, and we tend to ignore some institutions like caste. Caste system plays a very important role in trying to relegate a woman to the back door, the second-class citizen status, religion, and multiple factors. And as long as we don't take care of socializing the children into gender-sensitive, gender equality, this problem will sustain.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm glad neither Manu nor Aristotle is here to defend themselves. Now let me go on to another tack. There are several subjects to cover, so I'm afraid we need to go to the next one. Please go ahead.
I'm D.V. Manohar, a first-generation entrepreneur and a cyclist. I got into cycling. I got into cycling to promote non-motorized transport, to combat the vehicular pollution menace that is engulfing our cities. I had the National Cycling Federation, and I'm the only Indian on the world cycling body. Well, I'm coming to that. Karuna earlier said that we better focus on solutions. So I want to talk of two solutions. One, I strongly feel that there shall be more women in entrepreneurial arena. Women are born entrepreneurs. They manage our homes so very well. What more proof do we want? They are very good entrepreneurs, but we don't find many women getting into the entrepreneurial arena. So women should be more active on this, and they should focus on, well, generating more enterprises and more employment, and take themselves up the ladder. They don't have to depend on anybody when they start something on their own. Secondly, Karuna mentioned about the role women can play in the field of climate control. This is very, very crucial. This is something very dear to my heart, and irrespective of what Donald Trump feels about climate control, it is a grave situation which we'll be seeing if we don't take preventive actions. Women can be proactive and catalytic in this aspect, and I already find that it is happening in our Hyderabad Bicycling Club, which has 15,000 members. 40% are women, as many as 6,000 women cyclists in Hyderabad, and no other Indian city has this kind of a record. And now we are working in two cities, Hyderabad and New Delhi, to set up public bike sharing system and to promote cycling, as I mentioned earlier, to combat the vehicular pollution menace. And we men, we are very, very possessive about our flashy vehicles, and we don't want to get rid of them. Probably the sisters, wives, mothers at home can play a proactive and catalytic role in making everybody take to non-motorized transport and help us to face this challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Manohar. There are a couple of more issues I need to go into. Sorry.
I think the education side, there are men suited and booted here. You have to ask.
I think we need to address them, but just say a couple of more issues which are relevant. One is, though MDG does not address it, in the recent international policy document, particularly the Rio document, focused on this, and FAO has recognized this as a very important issue. I'm not very clear as to what really is the legal position in India. It is women's exclusion from formal and customary systems of property inheritance. Whether patriarchal practices deny women secure land tenure, because this is creates a real problem as far as the agricultural area is concerned. A 2014 census says that women make up 27% of economically active population, out of which 60% are in agriculture. So, feminization of agriculture, if I can use a word, appears to be a serious problem here. Is there any expert here who can throw light on that?
Thanks for this opportunity. I'm Geeta Goti. I'm the National President for Confederation of Women Entrepreneurs. I'm also an entrepreneur in catering to the small and medium enterprises in HR services. Coming to the land rights, we have seen in the recent past, we have been going to rural areas and finding out if there are any entrepreneurs there so that we can create a startup ecosystem in the rural areas. Very difficult task. However, when we landed there were women who had land in their name, but they were not doing anything about it. They did not know the rights they have on the land. In fact, a piece of land in anybody's name, especially women, gets a lot of schemes from the government straight away into their doorstep. But hardly anybody know about it. Second thing we found it, there's a lot of bystander attitude from the local polity also. Like, if there is a land acquisition, it's the first the single women are, coaxed to give up their land. Second is those vulnerable women who have family conflicts and feuds, their lands go off. So we have seen, while we are talking about women empowerment, somewhere we have lost the sight of how to make them empowered in their own places. They need not come out of rural areas to urban areas and eke out their lives. Right there, while they are there, they can still become entrepreneurs. The second point we have seen is a lot of artisans and craftswomen are not even looked at as entrepreneurs, though they produce and they sell. In fact, of late, we have seen that a small study we made. Online shopping is so well off in urban areas, but the produce comes from rural areas, most of it. The so-called organic stuff, which comes from there, the actual price, the cost price which goes to them is very low. They don't even make a small profit out of it. So these are the things which we are trying to bring out in open. In fact, we have a conference coming up on this. Thanks for the opportunity.
Arising out of this, ma'am, I want to go on to the next issue which you have basically raised, which is basically migration. You raised that point also because of agriculture. Migration is a social process, and gender is a social construct. Individuals are largely defined by the roles they play in society and the limits they have. Male and female migrations are structured according to their gendered position. Studies reveal female migration is 3 times that of male migration. While a male migration is in response to higher economic benefits, female migration is in response to social compulsions. One is marriage, and there is land rights, lack of skills, lack of opportunities, lack of training. What kind of rural, urban development policies that we can think of to bridge this gap? I must address it to the government.
Okay. So you should, I guess people have seen my BJP tag. But I represent more of the technology industry rather than the policy sector per se. So I don't think I would be the right person to answer this. So I would rather well pass. It's.
And also, if you think anything relevant from your own experience in education, I think you can add, because the themes for discussion today are health, education, safety, security, empowerment, pretty pervasive in appeal. So I think pretty much anything that adds value can be said.
I think the last half an hour is going to go around. Go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Raman and Gopal. If I take you entirely to a different scenario where what the rural women or rural public need is water energy. To provide water energy to these people, they will not migrate, they will stay there. And if you see the rural women, not only in India, many of the African countries, they walk several kilometers to fetch firewood. Me? The mic is. Can you hear me now? Yeah, thank you. Not only in India, if you see the other countries, African countries, the women walk for kilometers to get firewood plus water. And more than 70% of the time they waste in collecting the firewood for the family. Water for the family. If you are able to provide these two most important substances to the rural areas, the woman has time to think of her own imaginations. They can't migrate to other places. They can have their own ideas to develop actually. And now the question, how do you provide water and energy to these people? It's a big question. I'll take you one step ahead. Today, if you see, the energy and water is mostly cornered by the urban communities. So the urban community has so many options to have water and electricity, and that water and electricity can be diverted to the rural areas. So how do you say that? Where is the water coming from? Where is the electricity coming from? For example, we have so many tall buildings around the cities. Each building can generate its own electricity. I will come to the technical part later actually. Each building, for example, I come from Lancour Hills. Lancour Hills is about 34 floors actually. One building can generate its own electricity by gravity power. That much energy can be saved and diverted to the rural areas with a local network instead of asking them to have a solar powered energy. Solar power is being taken into consideration. But then once you provide a solar panel to a family, are you going to provide a backup? For example, service for them actually. It's difficult to have. Once you have an installation of a solar power in a village, who is going to maintain it? The villagers doesn't have money to maintain the tax. Why I'm saying this is from my experience from West Bengal, where you have a problem of arsenic in groundwater. The people drink water with a lot of arsenic. Government has spent millions of dollars, millions of rupees providing a solution. I have a solution there, why? But who is going to maintain it? They said even 10 rupees to spend on a maintenance of a water purifier is a great thing for us. So problem is, they have a problem. We don't have a problem with water, question of policies. We're going to implement this policy so that the entire energy can be shifted to the rural areas actually.
Let me turn to the corporates. So I've got away easy so far. What is it that the corporates can? Somebody had a point on this? I want to raise this with the corporates. A question. Do you believe that women's empowerment is something which could be part of a corporate social investment objective? Today everyone talks about CSR, CSI. Do you believe this is something where it could be part of your, corporate this side, industry, both sides? Could you make that as part of your corporate social responsibility? If so, how do you think you will get value out of that? Because today corporate social responsibility, people talk about shared value. Will you get a shared value? Will you do it only as a social service, as a gift, as a charity?
Yeah, I'm from Tech Mahindra. I take care of healthcare and life sciences vertical in Tech Mahindra, part of the Mahindra group, which does a lot of CSR. So apt question. So to answer straight, I don't think when we are doing CSR, we are looking at generating any value out of that for the corporation. But there's definitely a lot of indirect value that happens to the organization from a brand image point of view, or motivating the employees to contribute to the society, so that as an employee, I live in a company that is contributing to the organization, that makes me belong to the organization. Just to give you a few examples on what we do. The other day, Jayesh, you were there, Jayesh, I'm talking about you. So you were there at Tech Mahindra facility. And what we did is we invented a technology platform to serve rural community for healthcare. I partnered with Novartis, a life sciences company. I partnered with ITC, which has eChopal network. And they were able to bring women village health champions to actually educate and promote health and also push people to the camps if they are in need of any health care. And the idea is basically using this as a technology platform, can I actually entertain and engage with a lot of NGOs who want to build a business model around this so that it becomes sustainable. And this has purely come from a CSR budget, both from Novartis and from my organization. And we run a set of schools in Hyderabad, about 14 schools Mahindra supports. And we're not doing, we basically give some teaching aids, books, pencils, etc. And the idea is for underprivileged children, schools that doesn't have so much of focus from the government, can we actually substitute a little bit of that effort and help them to grow a little bit more? So while health, agriculture and economic empowerment, all of these could be government subjects, but I guess you can't leave this to the government. I think each one of us are responsible for that.
Thank you very much. I think we are just running out of time. So anything that you'd like to say, just pointed solutions. Now,
Okay,
if I were to
let
just
me carry that further.
Yeah.
We talked about three aspects: security, education, and health. Right? In these three areas, are there specific action plan that you can suggest? 1, 2, 3, 4. Very briefly, 2 lines. Anybody across?
If I can quickly just sum up what we do as part of our CSR, I don't want to bring up any questions and point any fingers, just want to list out what it is that we do as part of our CSR. We actually work on the areas of nutrition, health, education and livelihoods. We also work on adult education, which we don't realize is a big problem. It's a way to fix education gaps that have happened before and not say it's a problem that we can't, tackle. In nutrition, we work with pregnant and lactating women. We make sure that they come to nutrition centers, eat NIN prescribed food so that they do not deliver malnourished children, and especially with girls, because we are monitoring who comes into the center and which child is born, whether it's male or female, we are able to control a lot of female infanticide. The other thing that we do is for adolescent girls between 12 and 15 have to come to our center, they have to register with us, and they get a free snack, which is their daily quota of how much iron, how much protein they need. The other thing that we do for nutrition is that children below 1 year who come to our nutrition center, we check that they're getting all their vaccinations done. We are checking that they're getting their daily nutrition intake so that they are not malnourished.
All right. Let me focus specifically on 3 issues, as I said. Just want a 2-line answer. Action plan. Health. Yeah.
the CSR bit. I'd like to say it just scratches the surface. How many of you would like to negate what I'm saying? CSR. I think both of you should speak now.
First, I feel that women empowerment should not be discussed under CSR.
No.
CSR is more of charity. Women empowerment is a matter of right.
So this good.
Okay, very quickly. I think there is a significant amount of unconscious bias that we are trying to, again, as a part of the industry that we have been trying to address. If I ask today as to how many of you would send your girl child to a school, I think everybody would raise their hand. Okay. But the world has moved beyond that. And just to give you an example today, just what I saw today, in the morning I went for to drop my son at an Olympiad examination, and I was looking at the list. There were just about 10% or 15% of girl children in the entire list. The extra push is missing. Today the world has moved beyond just basic schooling, and there is that extra push, and that is primarily due to a lot of unconscious bias which is crept in. And how do we address that? One part is we need to create role models. Okay. If we talk about scientists, particularly I'm talking about the STEM sector, where we find a significantly lower number of women, and the biggest lacuna over there is portraying the role models and telling people, hey, there are people who are successful. There are not too many people who talk about Ada Lovelace or Grace Hopper, right? And it's important that we inculcate and integrate this in education of kids right from the beginning, so that they know that there are role models whom they can go after. That's one. And even in the industry, we need to ensure that there is adequate representation of women right at the hiring committee and also in the promotion committees, right? And that's where there is a significant balance. A lot of times we overlook that. When people are hiring, there are probably an all-male committee. When there are, when people are sitting to promote, it's probably an all-male committee, and a lot of unconscious biases come in. To address this, I think these are 2-3 specific points which probably can address.
Anybody who has not talked so far, give any points, please.
Yes, sir, and also safety and security was not talked about at all. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hi,
After the
I'm
lady.
Geeta. I think I'm going to have the last word, I guess, on this. Okay. So here, actually, really, Professor Anantharaman, you shared some great statistics. We spoke about economic empowerment. Mr. Jayesh did talk about it. We talked about women wanting to, we talked about women wanting to do many things but not being able to do those things because of restriction. That was Padmaja, I guess. One basic thing that I keep on talking, and I come from an IT sector where I guess we are more empowered and we have evolved over the years, and you know, we seem to be more inclusive and more diverse from a sector standpoint. One of the things that I really think at grassroots level, right from the beginning, from day one, a girl child, are we teaching them to be authentic? When I say authenticity, it is about being real, right? It's about telling them to speak their mind and do exactly what they speak, right? The moment we start nurturing that attitude in a child, in a professional, in everybody that we come across in this, I think we are naturally building the competency in the genders there, you know, because we just seem to be ignoring that point every time, and we do believe. And one of the reasons IT sector is doing extremely well is because of all the flexibility that's offered for open door environment, for anything that they can speak without consequences that could be adverse for them. So it took us generations to get there, right? It took us years to get there. So in certain sectors where we feel that that's an opportunity, I think we all have to come together and make that investment. That's really what I wish.
Safety and security. All right. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I represent a not-for-profit organization called Society for Cyber Security Council, which is basically a collaborative effort between IT industry and the government. It's a very true example of a private-public partnership model, and we have done a lot of work towards women's safety and security. I would say that, you know, in terms of women empowerment, there are three important aspects that we need to talk about, right? We need to really focus on. One is the social strength. It's all about increasing the strength of a woman. That's what we believe as far as women empowerment is concerned. Social, economic, and emotional. Those are the three important aspects that we deal, and we've just also brought into practice on the ground many different programs which are, you know, kind of promoting women empowerment. One of the examples that I could say is She Shuttle. It is actually an intelligent transport system. About 4 She Shuttle buses are, you know, moving around the IT corridor, giving the last mile connectivity for all the women for free. And this is all, you know, kind of empowered by, you know, organizations who are actually funding for these operations of She Shuttles, and the buses have been donated by the government. And thanks to Mr. Jayesh, when I had this idea of She Shuttles, when I approached him, he immediately approved it, and now there's a lot of demand for increasing the number of She Shuttles, but at the same time, we don't want to be competing with RTC, and also this is a free service. So there are many such things that we have done, and the CCTV camera, about 150 CCTV cameras are installed in this area, and we are just monitoring them 24/7 in the command control center, which is housed in Cyberabad Police Commissionerate. And not many people know about it, but if you heard about this Abhaya incident that happened in 2015, a woman was actually, you know, like taken in a cab and then raped. Since then, after putting in so many measures by our council, not even one incident has happened. So I really, you know, kind of take pride in saying that, because so many preventative actions are happening at this point in time by primarily being organized by the Cyberabad Security Council.
Thank you. Dr. Manjula.
I just have to say 3 points in terms of health. I'm sorry. The first, I think, like we have said, government has come up with so many things. So first is the awareness, which anybody is doing. But the second thing is the prevention. When we say The thing we have to do is both look at what nutrition she has talked about and regular evaluation and vaccination, but deliveries at the hospital. That is something which is very important, which has been happening. And third and most important is PHCs are there, everything is there, but are the doctors there? So that is a point hospitals, government has to look and see that healthcare professionals or the doctors are there in the rural areas, then only there will be some amount of empowerment in the women health.
Dr. Vasaprada.
Thank you all. I wanted to actually basically just say that after discussing all the environmental factors, we are talking essentially about the environmental factors that are contributing to the lack of empowerment or the would-be empowerment that is going to come. But ideally where it should start is actually about the self-image. The biggest problem that we are facing actually today, more than ever before, is the concept of self-image of a woman. Because everyone, just like how Geeta was just talking, it's about the authenticity wherein they are not valuing themselves for what they are. They are seeking to be something else totally all the time, and their natural ability to multitask is good, but then they are pushing beyond limits. And then actually succumbing to, when Dr. Purnima was giving all the statistics, most of it can be attributed to the kind of an overload of things that women are taking up because somebody else is not doing their duty. So essentially the self-image, the self-preservation, because when we are talking about the safety factors, we are again talking about the environmental factors, but ideally a woman should be able to focus on herself and say that I am also a priority. Because in the family, normally a woman happens to be the natural last priority. So this is where I think the choice making, when we are talking about, it comes from the mother, it comes from the daughter, it comes from everywhere, wherein the last priority should not be the woman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go to the general audience. Any two people? They have been listening patiently. Please brief.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening, everybody. I'm a two daughters. One of them is a doctor and another is an engineer. And primarily the problem which we are discussing about the Shakti, we have to find a solution, and the solution lies that as far as the property rights are concerned, first primarily if the property rights are available to the women, from where the government can start, and the property right has to come to the women. Second, then the social part, as far as the social part is concerned, unfortunately, the women, they themselves are not favoring the women. That's the most important and most factual part. A mother discriminates their children with a male child as a female child. Who is that? And where she is discriminating? And another problem is the social, as well as like taking care. Of course, the validation and other things. Of course, in the day-to-day life also, we have to give them a proper rights and a proper confidence level. Just to quote an example, incidentally, when both the daughters, they completed their high secondary school and they have to go to their colleges. I asked them to go independent, and they have gone independent and then travel from Delhi to Dharwad in a train, which is reaching early in the morning at 4 o'clock. They still able to manage just because of one reason, that yes, they can be confident and they can do whatever they feel like. Most of the people of my colleagues suggested that if I ask them to be a chartered accountant, they'll be helpful to me. Yeah. And normally we don't like to give them a chance where they wanted to be. And I'm sure that if each parent sitting here at least decide that they will involve their daughters into the decision-making system at home, and thereafter we can expect a better result from the society is concerned. As far as the government is concerned, government is all out for the support, and the property rights, if can be given, they'll be help.
Yeah, and Harish wants, there are a few of them who have come to speak, and they are, Harish, would you like to?
No, thank you, Karuna. You know, you want to...
Go ahead, you go ahead. And then
Yeah, Karuna, thank you very much for the introduction. Now I know, I was always wondering why this Millennium Development Goals are not, now I know women is responsible for it.
Can you?
Yeah, you also said...
Closer.
Yeah, you also said transform India, we have to transform women. But I think it is men who need to be transformed. Just now when I was telling my wife I am coming for this meeting, she said, please don't go. You don't know how to talk. I mean, the biggest confusion we have is, ma'am, this is POSH Act, right? P-O-S-H, POSH Act. We can't, industry cannot decipher this POSH Act because there is this supervisor, lady comes to the supervisor and says, sir, this fellow is harassing me, right? So she said, Amma, we will not make a fuss out of it because nik pelli kavali. So, but he called that other fellow and said, you don't do this anymore. He said, fine, sir. But after 1 month again, he started harassing her, this young fellow. And she now, I think she got hurt a little bit and she went and complained to the police station. And the police said, why did you not take it up before when he is harassing you for the last 1 year? He said, no, I complained to my supervisor. He said, keep quiet. Out of love and affection, because he had daughters in the house, he said this, right? But now that supervisor has been suspended. Because we don't understand. Like today, tomorrow is Rakhi. My son is coming from US. So I'm telling my daughters, go and get Rakhi. You have to tie Rakhi to your brother. She asked me, why Nana, why my brother has to tie Rakhi? Why I can't tie, why he can't tie to me, something like that. I said, you are tying the Rakhi to him to protect you. Why should he protect me? I can protect myself. So these are the conflicts we have in the family. I'm coming from a family which is very evolved, I think, because we have politicians, we have doctors, engineers, lawyers, women. And by the way, you're recording all this, no? I have to show it to my wife. I don't, she will not think that I am talking crap here. So I mean, I'm telling you on the lighter side, but this is the problem. I want to tell my daughter, don't wear shorts and go out onto the street. She says, who are you to say that? I have the right to do that. Right? So we are in this, midst of changing culture. So we have to understand these things. So more important is to transform men than women. So that is the most important thing, I think. Thank you.
No, I think you had a question on CSR. On the CSR funding, I think there's a potential, huge potential there. But I think we also have to be cautious. It's only 2-3 years old now, right? It does take time, and like how Harish was saying, in my own house, we see, things are changing. There's no way am I letting my daughter I can't not give her half of everything. I can't not give her, make her the boss of the company if she wants to be. But I think what we have to recognize, because today I was checking some data, I think we have moved miles. Of course, doesn't mean that we are perfect. Will we ever be perfect? I think doctor was telling about something about women in US. And so if US is also having issues of equality and all that, I think we can give ourselves a little bit time. Now, doesn't mean that we relax. Doesn't mean that but one of the things I have my pet peeve is there's no point going and blaming the past because you can't correct it. We have to keep correcting forward. And I think industry has an important role to play. We are also challenged. The 6-month thing is suddenly becoming a big deal. I have no problem, but none of my managers want to hire women now because they're saying, they have to be given 6-month leave, sir, so I don't want to take it. So I'm pushing them to say, take more women. But they have, the line guys don't want to do it because they're saying, I can't afford to lose an employee for 6 months. So is it right? Maybe. But is it the right time to do it? I don't know. So I think we need to be careful about getting too idealistic too fast. I think is my point. Thank you.
I think the British High Commission has something to say. They have a woman Prime Minister struggling with Brexit. I'm sure you have something to say.
Hello, I'm Nalini from the British Deputy High Commission in Hyderabad, and I hope you can hear me. Area for us, and we've been working on that area across the world. And in Hyderabad, especially in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, we've been working a bit on mostly creating awareness and sensitization, especially amongst school children, adolescents, and youth. We've been talking more on exploitation, sexual exploitation, child abuse, trafficking, and few other areas. We've been working with a couple of NGOs here. And I think security is a very important issue. I think on one hand we have empowerment, we have laws and everything, but how many women have the guts to go and register an FIR, or how many women can speak up for their rights? And a lot of women are scared of being singled out, being isolated, and being labeled in the society. I mean, that's where I think the systems have to really be very sensitive and more welcoming towards women. And I think Bharosa Centers and the She team is a very positive initiative, and I'm very happy that that's being spread across the other districts of Telangana state. I think, and we are trying to work closely with them as well, with Dr. Mamta Raghuveer on the online sexual abuse and trafficking area, where we are trying to sensitize children on how they can report and how they can benefit from the existing systems and not suffer silently.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I want some action plan. Just one line. Tell me what is it we must do. Just one line. One line. Not more than one line.
Nutrition, menstrual health, psychological support.
Madam.
Raise your children equally.
Give some kind of a, create an environment where more and more women can start working from home, because they also take the responsibility of the household and the children and all, and it takes a lot. So give them maybe work from home kits or some kind of a technological solutions where most women who are educated can contribute to the economy.
I think Mr. Patnaik would like to speak. He's been. Yeah. So you can speak more than one sentence. I mean, you are the first person to have come here. Please.
I don't think I can complete in one line or one sentence. Yeah, that can be anything. I'd like to join Karthik regarding paradox, what he said. And also Mr. Harish, his points. Actually, we are living in a confused society. We are really confused what we are doing. Let me start with a very common example. In theaters, because I am from movie background, let me start with. In theaters, there is one ad before every movie coming up as "Don't smoke, it kills." The same, that is given by Government of India. The same Government of India wants GST from cigarettes and makes money out of it. That is the confusion we have. This same confusion prevails in every aspect of our life. And I am one of those confused idiots, don't understand exactly what is happening in this society. When Ananda said there is woman shown like a doll in the movies. No, means yeah, regressively. Like maybe because of her dressing style or something, they are shown little exposing kind of thing like that. And that is pointed out, women should not be shown like that. The same thing, when a woman comes like that on the street, what is wrong with that? Let her speak herself, let her be like what she wants to be. See, the same society has two different things. When we show the same thing in the movies, it is a sin. When the same thing happens in the society, it's a right thing. That is the confusion we have. Unless we come out of those confusions, I don't think we can come to a conclusion. Thank you.
Okay.
In reality, equality. And to give you a background about myself, I'm the global head for the digital farming initiatives at TCS, and I do a lot of work in the rural sector. And the charter of my team is to create technology-powered avatars of Gandhiji's Gram Swarajya. And we call these entities like prides. And what we have found is when the women are involved as part of the prides and they are made part of the decision-making process, things happen much faster. And we've had a lot of success. I've been with TCS for the past 7 years and found that as the women got involved in this, the acceleration towards self-sufficiency and making these entities economic powerhouses has increased. So that's point number one. And the second point is something which a lot of people pointed out as well. Women are born entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of entrepreneurship which is already imbibed within them in their way of thinking. And when we gave them the chance to really put this out and see what sort of innovations they could put forward to make these prides get to self-sufficiency, we got a lot of very bright ideas from them, which again really helped in terms of the progress. And the third aspect is from the education standpoint. It all starts with education, but it's not necessary that they need to have formal education. So we found that we just trained them on a few core aspects and they were able to absorb that very easily and then actually put that into practice. So these are some of things which have really helped us.
Yes, sir. I visit 3 villages. What I found is one she founder to be one she member should be in the village. You know, we say like the she team in the cities, but in the village I run a vidyalaya to empower the women and entire the students to come up. The boys anyway don't come. Even the girls are not allowed to come. So we are not able to do what we want to do. So what I mean to say is even the villages where she, the member, wherein the girls can able to come to the wherever the vidyalaya school.
One sentence.
One-liners.
Yeah, respect women.
Primarily awareness on legal and constitutional rights for women. I think everybody needs to be aware of that. And secondly, we have to just make sure that they're educated and more importantly, emotional resilience have to be taught at the school level so that they just try to learn to be more emotionally strong. That's very important as well.
Thank you. Any other one?
Dr. Srinivas, would you like to?
Hi, I'm Dr. Srinivas Rao. I'm a homeopathic physician and I represent the Ayush Ministry also. The one problem that I would like to share here, which I can say it's fair to presume it's probably applicable in other fields too, is the admission ratio in our homeopathic education section is almost about 78 to 22. 78 being girls and 22 being boys. And this is probably happening by the time they pass out also it is almost the same ratio. But unfortunately once they pass out, how many of them are really coming out into the open to practice, to apply for government jobs, to get even admission into government industries? So they marry and they move on, which is okay. So this being a situation, we've realized that these girls, they really spend a lot of time, they work very hard to get a meritorious seat, but they don't really get to really put this into a good practice. So the Indian Institute of Homeopathic Physicians, which is like an IMA, what we have tried to do is to see if we can offer online reorientation programs for these girls, for these women who are married or who are passed out and they've not been doing anything with themselves for the last 5 years or 10 years, to see if we can empower them to gain a confidence to do something about what they've studied, and if they can offer the services either online or even when they move away from, let's say, from where they've passed out into another city, if they can be available as a support system to the doctors nearby. So this is one project that we're taking up, and I think we definitely like to have some help in this area.
One line I wanted to say is stop feeding the cliches, calling them princesses, saying pink colored dresses and Barbie dolls, please. I think if you really want them to be equal, or I mean to be the full potential, I think please stop doing that.
I would like to say one thing.
Yeah, certainly, Doctor.
See, just extending on what you are saying, each family has to let the girl make their own choices and let the girl stand by her choices and of course just advise her, but not suppress her choices.
I hope somebody
Just one line, just one line.
Respecting women and their decisions.
We have to create an awareness about a fund that's there since 1993, Rashtriya Mahila Kosh, the National Women's Credit Fund or something like that. This fund is available to women from the Government of India since 1993 for small women entrepreneurs. I think from the government side, greater awareness needs to be created amongst women on this particular Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. Thank you.
One last sentence, just one sentence. A lot of people believe that, very condescending when it comes to empowering a woman. So empowerment is not a favor that you're doing to somebody. It's just giving a person equal rights and recognizing that a person, a woman is just as good or, has the same frailties as everybody else.
My one-line solution is just stop watching TV serials wherein women are being shown as villains. Just stop that. That is my one-line solution.
So you haven't spoken at length, but you have given highest value.
Saas Bahu serials should be banned.
Yeah, I would like to say one thing. Unless we have good teachers, we will not have good students. And if we do not have good students, we do not have good values. Unless the value system is correct, this will never happen. So we should have some teacher training. People should take up that as a very important thing.
One-liner, I just want to say,
all the one-liners are very good. So what I suggest is, I think one-liners you can
take
quickly
this,
repeat
Karuna?
also because the one-liners are very good.
I just have a point of view. Patriarchy is
one
what,
line.
yeah, patriarchy opposite doesn't mean matriarchy, it's equality.
I believe words like feminism should go out of the dictionary because there is nothing like masculinism. So, we have to move towards that we don't, somewhere, we progress when such words go out of dictionary. That itself will be a very big empowerment because all the time when you say feminine, feminism, feminist study, etc., there is somewhere the imbalance is also happening.
One-liner from me is enlighten men to empower women.
I think somewhere along the line we need... Any more one-liners, please?
For a long time, 33% reservation for women is pending in Parliament. They have done it at the Panchayat level. I think it's high time they should do it at the state and the central level. That solves some problem, I hope.
So you should say make 33% real.
Yes.
Right. I think, thank you for all these contributions. Ultimately, the one point that must be made was, ultimately, it's the woman who can empower women. In fact, Eleanor Roosevelt once said, a strong woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong she is unless she gets in hot water. So when you throw bricks at her, she will use it to build a foundation. In fact, when Malala was shot by the Taliban, simply because she advocated school, she did not roll up and die. She raised her voice and said, I raise my voice not because I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back. In fact, United Nations did an exercise about 2 years ago. They asked women who have risen from the ranks from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe and asked all of them, what is it that made you come up? The 56% of the people answered self-awareness. It is that it made us come. So with that, we will stop. Thank you very much.
I am Dr. Tripurana, Chairperson, Telangana State Commission for Women. I don't know much about CSR and other UNDP reports, Pakistan, Bangladesh. I'm just bothered about the women in both these Telugu states. You know, all our friends mentioned several points. And women empowerment. Women empowerment, what is women empowerment? Social empowerment, economic empowerment, and political empowerment. You know, all the problems now women are facing because women, we don't have any social empowerment. We are not at all talking about the dowry system. How do women get property? Though we have got acts, women should get equal share in father's property. But whenever we talk of this property, simply families say, we have given lot good fat dowry. Why should we give it again in many share? These are the grassroots problems. And we are talking about Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. How many girls are going to the school after 12 years? We don't have toilets. Even if we have toilets, we don't have water. I'm not talking about Hyderabad, corporates, this corporate responsibility. Let us think about these grassroots problems. Women farmers. In this country or in our Telugu states, so far I have not heard Raitamma, only Raitannale. Only male farmers. I never heard of Raitamma. Because, but much of the work will be taken up by women only. Everything. He will be at the most nowadays driving the tractor. Otherwise the entire labor will be done by women. So where do we get rights? Unless and until we just think about this dowry system, unless and until we eradicate the dowry system, we are so helpless, women are so helpless. Nowadays we are watching many cases, throwing children into the wells and the mother is committing suicide or the wife is committing suicide because of dowry harassment. Every day we are just reading this news, watching the news. So all these things, education and political empowerment, just now our friend said, 33% reservation. Yes, that bill has been passed in Rajya Sabha and it is still pending in the Lok Sabha for the last several years. And we got not 33%, 50% reservation in the local body elections, panchayats, municipalities. But here is the point. We all fought for that reservation also. But how many men are allowing their wives to really, you know, empower or having that power? Only this is the realization. We have to economically and politically, but I think it will take some more years or decades.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tripurani, you have concluded very well in a very strong and a powerful message you sent across. I have heard all discussions. I was very happy with the solutions that were coming, because most important is leave the analysis, but the pointed solutions are very important to lead the nation and transform the nation. So I'd like to thank all of you, and I just suddenly remembered what Socrates said 2,500 years ago. He said, make women equal to men and they will overtake them in no time. So this is the crux. We talked about gender equality, and I said Millennium Development Goals and why we have not reached them. So even today it is not late. There are ways and means to create pathways for this transformation, transform women, and we can certainly 200% transform the nation. Thank you for being enlightened and very happy participants. I also have a request. Please don't go away now. We have very interesting program after this. We are felicitating women achievers who will come quickly and take their bouquets, and you will get an opportunity to see what they have done, number one. The other is, there are people, we have spoken at length about what has to be done for the country, and today we have examples in this room of people who have actually acted on the thoughts, and they have worked towards transforming the country, and we are going to show you a couple of their achievements, and it would be really my pleasure to see all of you staying back and enjoying the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
One of the awardees is just on our way, so we decided to leave the best to the last. And before we get on with the felicitation ceremony, I'd like you all to turn your eyes and ears to the next presenter I'm going to introduce. She's going to be talking about a very unique institution. In the last hour and a half, we all agreed on many issues. There were a few disagreements, but I would dare not disagree with the chairperson of the Women's Commission when she said that education is the foundation that supports the pillar of health, safety, nutrition. Let me introduce to you now Sai Seva Sangh, a registered society that has been running a school for the underprivileged children for 25 years now. I introduce to you the youngest member of Sai Seva Sangh, Ms. Sai Gauri, who is the Director Strategy and Governance, Virchisa. She is going to present to you the achievements of the school and the phenomenal work they have done in the sphere of education. Ms. Sai Gauri.
Thank you, Deepika. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all the esteemed guests gathered here today. It is my privilege today, as the youngest member of Sai Seva Sangh, to walk this decorated audience through the journey that we have taken so far. I first heard the name Sai Seva Sangh as a 10-year-old in the year 1990. All I knew at that time was that a group of ladies, what we call Shaktis today, with my mother, were going every day to a nearby slum called Musapet, which most of us must be aware of, to teach a handful of kids under a tree the basic hygiene and alphabets. I wondered, they were all homemakers who could have engaged in other means of entertainment, but what made them come to these slums every day? Like one of the panelists said, they could have watched their serials every day, right? So I realized that the driving force between each of them was their belief that the free value-based education they received should be used to better the society and shared with others who have no access to the same. Not that I really understood the concept at that point in time. I just tagged along with them so that I could make new friends and play new games that these kids in the slums were actually playing with. Over the years that I grew up, I witnessed the growth of this humble effort made by the group of ladies manifest into a spectacular NGO that housed a full-fledged school, orphanage for the girls, old age home, and a school for the differently abled children. This journey had its fair share of challenges, but the volunteers kept at it during the initial years, post which they received the support of many like-minded people and institutions who were impressed with their tenacity and willingness to go the extra mile. We have together helped better the lives of close to 5,000 people in the last 25 years without charging a penny to any of the recipients. This could not have been possible without the active support of many volunteers, donors, government agencies, and various companies from the corporate sector who are seated here today. This is a miracle of perseverance, trust, and sustainability. Having witnessed this journey firsthand, let me take you through a short visual presentation
every milestone that you've seen in the journey of Sai Seva Sangh was triggered by a circumstantial incident. I would like to highlight one such incident. Around the year 2000, one of the teachers was explaining to the children on the power of prayers, and a grade 2 child stood up and said, "I do not believe in that, ma'am, because I never got what I wished for." The teacher continued to explain that God would definitely respond in his own time and space. The discussion concluded, and the next day, post lunchtime, the same girl came running to the teacher with tears in her eyes, exclaiming, "Madam, it works and it's pretty quick." She then narrated that she came from a family of 5 and her father was a daily laborer who was not able to support them. She had not had food for the last 2 days, and she was unable to concentrate in class as she was feeling very hungry. She then remembered the teacher's conversation on the power of prayers and had started praying fervently for food. She had given an ultimatum to God that if what her teacher said was true, food should appear by the time she chants the Gayatri Mantra 21 times. And lo and behold, by the time she had chanted the mantra 11 times, hearing the prayer of this little heart, the a teacher walked into the school with lots of foods, cakes and pastries to be particular, on the occasion of her son's birthday. So that was how the girl got her first, impression on that prayers do work. And that actually triggered the thought in all the volunteers of Sai Seva Sangh that value-based education, and it cannot be taught on an empty stomach. And that was when we triggered the midday meal program. And to this day, 500 children in all the campuses are provided free, nutritious midday meals. One of the most important achievements of the teachers of Sai Seva Sangh is that they've been able to inculcate the values and responsibility of giving back to the society in these children. Although these children themselves are from deprived backgrounds, post the completion of their education, they are providing support to other children while they earn their livelihoods. We now have 3 such women who would like to share the values they have imbibed at Sai Seva Sangh. Coming up first, I have Miss Kalavati. Kalavati comes from a very rural background with a strong interest to pursue her studies with her parents could not support from their meager earnings. Under the aegis of Sai Seva Sangh, she not only completed her intermediate but also pursued a degree in nursing. Post her graduation, she worked for a couple of years in a corporate hospital and had a busy life. But that did not satisfy her, as she was always thinking about what she could do for the society which had given her so much. So when an opportunity arose, she took up the role of the warden of the hostel under Sai Seva Sangh. She is the youngest warden we've had and the most dedicated and loved one by all the children and inmates. Let's hear from her, Miss Kalavati.
I had always wanted to give back this organization which had done so much for me. But I always felt that I was inadequate and felt could never repay back. But God gave me the opportunity to serve when our warden fell sick. While studying in this organization, I learned so many values which included love, patience and sharing. Learning these values are very easy, but when I started implementing, I faced many difficulties. But I put these values into the practice. It really helped me to grow into a matured human being. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Kala. We now have another teacher from a different background. She is Rama, who realized that formal education of science, history, math was not her area of interest, and she thought that was the end of the road for her. But the teachers, noticing her talent in extracurricular activities like singing and dancing, sent her to train under Sri Kala Krishna Garu, who is a famous artist and had shown keen interest to hone skills of these children who were inclined towards arts. Today, Rama is a trained dancer in Perini Lasyam, which is the state dance of Telangana, and is pursuing her MA in dance. While she is enjoying following her passion, she has not forgotten her roots. She regularly teaches dance to the children at the hostel in the hope to create interest for different art forms among other kids. She has molded a group of 15 girls to become proficient in dance, a few of whom we saw performing this evening at the beginning of the program. Ms. Rama.
Nowadays, education is so expensive and art is much more expensive. And I was very fortunate to learn dance at free of cost. And I feel grateful for that. Though I have performed in many different places and in front of many august audiences, I get immense satisfaction only when I teach the underprivileged children. Thank you.
Thank you, Rama. Lastly, we have Reshma, who has been with us from the age of 6, and she was not good at math at that time. Despite various financial problems and loss of dear ones at an early age, I guess she was a family of 8 or 9, she stood strong in her willpower to complete her education. Today, she inculcates the same values and thirst for knowledge as a teacher at Sai Seva Sangh. She is a testament to the fact that thirst for knowledge is above caste, creed, or religion. Ms. Reshma. She says she's, bothered by the large audience that is there, but she's one of our dedicated maths teachers that we have today, and she teaches even up to grade 10th. So, even after her marriage, she's now continuing to do this activity. Thank you, ladies. This is a commendable spirit and great achievement of Sai Seva Sangh, as they have inspired the next set of women to take the mission forward. Sai Seva Sangh is a beautiful garland strung together with each flower represented by various individuals, corporates, hospitals and government agencies who believed that education is the foundation to building a strong nation. With the support of everyone, we aim to continue and scale up this mission in the years to come. These are small but definitive steps towards the goal of nation building. We now have Mrs. B. Vijay Lakshmi, an associate of Sai Seva Sangh. She would take us through the future plans of this organization. Vijay Lakshmi has been the regional head of HDFC, North and Northeast, handling 300 locations for credit and operations and credit cards for 17 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment of reckoning and why we are all gathered here today. We'd like you to stay along and be part of this initiative. Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi.
Sabaki namaskaram. Am I audible? Okay. To most esteemed dignitaries and all my dear sisters and brothers, we have seen what has happened over the years and the work which has been done by Sai Seva Sangh. Now we are moving to the future. So before we get on to the future, there's a saying here which we all are very familiar with. So if you educate a man, you educate a man. But if you educate a woman, you educate a generation. So I think this was already discussed in length. There's also a saying, which says, educating the mind without educating a heart is no education at all. Audible? Yeah. So while we have all these famous quotes with us, I just want to tell you, to take it forward from Sai Seva Sangh, that is the school till 10th standard, we realize that the kids are out of the 10th and they are in their adolescent age, and they have been learning the values, human values taught in this institution. But somewhere we were not very happy to see that these girls or these students are not continuing further. So with that idea in mind, now we are planning to take it to the next level. That is to develop a human excellence and to have an overall development of the child. See, the aim or the intention is not just providing information learning. Okay, it also involves transformation learning. So both information learning and transformation learning will be the curriculum of the educational institutes which are already functioning in the other areas and which we propose to do it now in Telangana. I strongly believe, does bread alone, earning bread alone satisfy all of us? No. I think individual has physical dimensions, mental dimensions, intellectual and also spiritual dimensions. Unless there is a balance which is being given to actually satisfy all the various dimensions, it is difficult for an individual to become the most satisfying or contributing citizen of our country, that is Bharat. As we all have heard this, teachers are the reservoirs from which, through process of education, students can draw the waters of life. Unfortunately, we realized that we need teachers who are having values and who can impart values to these students. So one of the main reasons we thought of having these educational institutes is to create a teachers forum who are both morally as well as intellectually able to support the future citizens, that is our dear students. With such noble intentions, we have this Prashanti Bala Mandir, which has been doing a wonderful job. In fact, they have started almost one educational institution with, which is free education mixed with value education in every district of Karnataka. As of now, they have covered the 9 districts of Karnataka. We can just have a look at these colleges, short snap. Excuse me, can I see the video? Colleges. Okay, so we have come to the most crucial part of it. In continuation with the enormous work being done, we are now having another major step towards it. The first women's college at CM's constituency, earlier Medak, now it is Siddipet. We are going to have a completely women's college campus, Satya Sai Prashanti Niketanam. Now, to talk of academics, this college is actually provides pre-university and offers pre-university and also degree courses, both in the fields of arts and science and performing arts as well. The main emphasis would be on teacher training. As we realized, it is important, one of them in the panel discussion said, it's important to have values in the teachers so that they can impart or pass on the same to the students. So, to say, I mean, I'm not comparing,
But I just want to say, like how we have IITs and IIMs, which are the beacons for technology and for management training, this institute, we hope with all your support, would definitely be a beacon for teachers. We would bring out, more value-added and intellectual teachers. So, can we have the unveiling of the college?
I now request Ms. Tripurana Venkatratnam, Ms. Karuna Gopal, Mr. B.N. Narsimurthy and Mr. Balasubramanian to please proceed and unveil the new college. A huge round of applause for the Sri Sati Sai Prashanti Niketanam campus for girls, the Center for Human Excellence that's going to come up in the Kondapaka village. The college will be open to intermediate students from the academic year of June 2018. 2 years hence, will also be open to offer degree courses to students in arts and science. The center will also award degrees in fine arts and performing arts. I'd like you all to turn your attention to the rear end of the hall where the new Prashanti Niketanam campus is being unveiled. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to inform you that the college construction is underway, and we'd definitely like you all to please go ahead and visit your school, your college and your community. Be a part of it in every way you can. We're such an august audience here of doctors, teachers, professionals, psychiatrists, psychotherapists and many more of us professionals. We'd like you all to please be part of this college as a community. Adopt this school and do every bit you can. We'll now have a short video that speaks of the Prashanti Niketanam campus.
puzzled to know that almost 33% of households in the city have their young daughters married off to very senior adult men. Through her foundation, she rescues these young girls, makes them economically independent by empowering them to go back to school, learn what would make them stand on their feet by being their akka or elder sister. For empowering these women to take control over their lives, let's put our hands together to welcome the real Begum of Hyderabad, Felicitation. We are now called upon Ms. Shakti, President and Chairman of the Telangana State Defense Commission. Please come forward for the statement. Our next women achiever is Dr. Shaki for Women's Health. In 2012 again, in Vijayawada, Dr. Shaki, who was still a student then, did something that no medical student otherwise do. She brought together 21 of her classmates and started the Young India Volunteer Foundation with the motto to spread health and awareness in the society. As a young medico, doing the rounds in the Government General Hospital in Vijayawada, she realized she needed to step up and prevent the diseases and disorders caused due to lack of awareness and negligence. This team that began by conducting awareness sessions in their hospital later adopted 20 government schools, their own villages, by organizing camps and reaching out to almost 1,000 people, educating them on lifestyle diseases and even offering them medicines free of cost. Let's welcome the lady with the step, Dr. Shaki. I would also like Dr. Manjula to join Mr. Surana to please come forward and give a big token of appreciation. Our next awardee is Ms. D.S.B. Sri Devi. She set up the Shankar Foundation to nurture the bodies, minds and souls of children with special needs. For many years now, she's given these children love, encouragement and support. She's helped them learn, work and be creators of their own destiny. Kids of almost 300 parents today are grateful to her for the positive reinforcement she has helped their children with to ensure these little wonders emerge with a strong sense of self-worth, confidence, and the determination to keep going even when things are tough. Almost 40 adults who trained under her as children with Shankar Foundation work in multinational firms today, and many more are financially independent. To Our Lady of Hope, who is represented by her daughter, Ms. Maitri, I request her to please come forward and collect this award for women and child welfare. Now I request Dr. Purnama Raja, consultant psychiatrist and psychotherapist, hospitals, to please come forward from the audience. Sridevi is going to be here because of a medical condition which she would like to be sent her daughter. widely in this evening's discussion. Mamta Raghuveera Chandar is a woman and child rights activist and has served as chairperson, Child Welfare Committee, Warangal District, and also has been member of the AP State Commission for the Protection of Child Rights and the founder executive of Taruni, a non-government organization that focuses on girl, child, and women empowerment. Dr. Mamta is a technical partner to Bharosa, a support center for women and children, which is an initiative of the Hyderabad City Police. She conceptualized this unique initiative along with Ms. Swati Lata, an hybiz officer who I'm sure you all know, to help victims of violence, both women and children. And for the last 1.5 years, Dr. Mamta has been voluntarily handholding this center. Dr. Mamta is not here with us today. She's out of the city. May I please request one of the members of Taruni Foundation, in fact, Dr. Purnima Nagaraja herself, to please come forward and collect this on behalf of her. May I request Ms. Swati Raji from the National Foundation to please give away this award. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, ladies. Our last awardee for the evening is Ms. Manjulata Kalanidhi. Manjulata Kalanidhi is a fellow journalist, feature writer, columnist, and creator of the Rice Bucket Challenge. She's currently the city editor at the New Indian Express newspaper in Hyderabad. As part of her job, she did extensive survey on the rice crop. She wrote stories on hunger and rice. Inspired by the popular Just a minute. Sure. I'm going to sing your glory for a while. Inspired by the popular ALS Rice Bucket Challenge, Manju wanted to give it a human touch, and kick-started the Rice Bucket Challenge. She touched several lives, and she first began by donating a bucket full of rice to a few daily wage earners and challenged a few friends on Facebook, tagged them and asked them to continue this. This staple act, if I may call it so, had many people actively participating in it. It satiated the appetites of many poor people and gave them the nutrition their poor bodies so required. For beginning this, such an innovative initiative, we're giving away this award to Manjulata Kalanidhi. I would like to call upon Ms. Nalini Raghuraman from the British High Commission to please come forward and give away this award. Thank you very much, ladies. With this, we come to the end of this evening's program. Before we close, may I please request Ms. Karuna Gopal to please come and deliver her vote of thanks.
Good evening again. Thank you. A big thank you for coming and making this program a phenomenal success. I really did not expect people to stay back till the end of the program because of commitments that they claimed they had. They called me and they said, I have to leave by 5:30, I have to leave by 5 o'clock. But I see all of them seated here. So that really speaks about the generous hearts you have. And perhaps the value of the program itself is so good that you are compelled to stay. I'm so happy that you're all here. First of all, thank you so much for the audience, for coming here, contributing your smiles, your thoughts, and being with us today. I'd like to congratulate and thank the awardees tonight, and the panelists of the round table. I think you were brilliant, and thank you very much for being here. And the volunteers of Sai Seva Sangh, and the people behind One Nation. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to host this event. And I'd like to just, I hope I have thanked everybody. Thank you for the convention center. Thank you for allowing us to use your premises. And just before closing, I was just thinking about transformation in India itself. Just a couple of things that came to my mind. India, the great nation that it is. Just yesterday, somebody was talking about what India is, and they said that India has startled the world when it talked about the development planning within a democratic process. And in the year 1970, it stunned the world with the resilience it demonstrated with the Bangladesh war. Then soon came the economic crisis, and India demonstrated its resilience with investments and savings. In the year 1990, India was slammed with external crisis, but it came out phenomenally well again with sweeping transformative changes in the financial reforms. In the year 1997, the world talked about India in a derogatory way and said that India is an epic story of wasted promise because of East Asian miracle. But somehow India proved everybody wrong in the year 2008. Thanks to financial tsunami the world was experiencing, India demonstrated resilience. Today, India is no more a part of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, the cluster, but India is now considered to be a part of TIPS, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and Singapore, because India is moving with extraordinary amount of agility, economic agility, and women are going to be a force that is going to push India forward. So thank you very much for being a part of this great nation and sharing the great DNA of the nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you all once again. Dinner is served for all of you right outside. We please request all of you to please have dinner with us, continue your chats with your colleagues, and then wind up for the evening. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I forgot to announce this. May I request all of you to please rise for the national anthem. Can we all maintain some silence for the national anthem? A better forum for us all to join in chorus. Bolo Bharat Mata Ki Jai Hind.